Cut off an octopus arm, and it does not die. For up to an hour, it keeps moving, keeps exploring. It recoils from danger, reaches into crevices, and attempts to pass food to a mouth that is no longer attached. The arm does not know it has been severed. It is still thinking. This is the octopus. 3 hearts, copper-based blood, a brain wrapped around its own throat, and 2/3 of its neurons living not in that brain, but scattered across 8 arms that can taste, decide, and act entirely on their own. The closer you look at this animal, the less it resembles anything else on this planet. Around 140 million years ago, the ancestors of the modern octopus made a decision that should have ended their lineage. They lost their shells. Every other branch of the mollusk family kept theirs: snails, clams, oysters. The octopus gave up the one thing protecting it from a sea full of predators. No skeleton, no armor, no hard tissue except a parrot-like beak. That beak is the only rigid structure in the entire body. A 30-kilogram giant Pacific octopus can compress itself through any opening larger than that beak, roughly the size of a quarter. That vulnerability should have been a death sentence. Instead, it became an engine. Because without a shell, the octopus needed a different kind of defense. What it developed is the most advanced camouflage system in the animal kingdom, and calling it camouflage undersells it by a wide margin. 3 layers of specialized cells sit stacked in the octopus's skin. Each one does something different. Together, they make the animal disappear. The outermost layer, chromatophores, tiny organs speckled across the skin like freckles. Each one holds a pigment sac, red, yellow, or black, surrounded by radial muscles. Contract the muscles, the sac stretches flat, flooding the surface with color. Relax them, the pigment shrinks to an invisible point. The octopus can activate any combination of sacs to produce stripes, bands, spots, or solid washes, all in fractions of a second. Beneath those sit iridophores, stacks of ultra-thin cells loaded with a protein called reflectin. They bounce specific wavelengths of light, producing metallic blues and greens that shimmer across the skin. Below those, leucophores. These reflect ambient light outward, filling gaps with a pale white glow. But color is only half the illusion. Structures called papillae, muscular bumps embedded in the skin, allow the octopus to reshape its texture in under 200 milliseconds. That is 1/5 of a second. Smooth becomes rigid, flat becomes jagged. The octopus transforms from a soft, recognizable animal into something indistinguishable from a knot of coral. Here's where the system should fail. The octopus is almost certainly colorblind. It has a single type of photoreceptor in its eyes. Color matching should be impossible. But in 2015, researchers discovered that octopus skin itself contains photoreceptor genes, the same light-sensitive proteins found in eyes. Detached skin samples, completely severed from the body, still responded to light by reshaping their chromatophores. The octopus does not just see with its eyes, it sees with its entire body. And unlike a chameleon whose color change is hormonal, a process that takes upward of 20 seconds, the octopus controls its chromatophores neurally, direct nerve signals to each individual pigment sac. Researchers have recorded a single octopus adjusting its camouflage 177 times in 1 hour. Its reaction time, 200 milliseconds, faster than you can blink. The human nervous system is centralized. 1 brain, 1 spinal cord. Every signal routes through the same command center. The octopus rejected that architecture entirely. A common octopus has roughly 500 million neurons, comparable to a dog, but only about 1/3 of those neurons sit in the central brain. The remaining 2/3 are distributed across its 8 arms. Each arm operates as a semi-autonomous processing unit. It explores, reacts, it makes decisions without consulting the brain. Every word of that is literal. A severed octopus arm does not shut down because it was never fully dependent on the brain to begin with. Each arm contains its own neural cluster, a local processing center that handles sensory input and motor decisions independently. The brain sets objectives, the arms execute, and when the connection is cut, the arms simply keep executing the last thing they understood. Recent research quantified this autonomy. Scientists used video modeling to track arm movements as octopuses explored objects and searched for food. They measured whether arms moved in synchrony, suggesting central direction, or independently. The answer? Information from the environment frequently bypasses the brain entirely. The suckers and arms process data and execute responses on their own. The central brain handles strategy, memory, spatial mapping. It is shaped like a donut threaded around the esophagus. Every piece of food the octopus swallows must pass directly through the center of its brain. Eat something too large and you risk damaging your own cognitive center. 500 million years of evolution, and 140 million without a shell. Every one of these systems evolved to replace the protection that armor once provided. And then there's the blood. 3 hearts. 2 pump blood through the gills. A third circulates it through the body. That blood is blue. Not metaphorically, chemically. Where our hemoglobin uses iron to carry oxygen, the octopus uses hemocyanin, a copper-based protein, less efficient in warm, oxygen-rich water. Significantly better in cold, low-oxygen environments. The deep ocean, the kind of place that would suffocate most vertebrates. For decades, the dominant theory for why intelligence evolved was social pressure. Living in groups, maintaining alliances, detecting deception, cooperating, created a cognitive arms race that produced bigger brains. Every animal we traditionally consider smart fits the model. Primates, dolphins, elephants, corvids, all social. The octopus breaks that theory. Octopuses are solitary. They do not form groups. They do not maintain bonds. Many species are cannibalistic, and yet they demonstrate cognitive abilities that rival large-brained vertebrates. They solve mazes. They differentiate between individual human faces, even when those humans wear identical clothing. They unscrew jar lids from the inside. In one experiment, researchers placed a floating pill bottle in an otherwise empty tank. A water intake pump created a gentle current. Several octopuses discovered they could blow a jet of water at the bottle, sending it toward the intake, which pushed it back. One octopus repeated this 21 times. The researchers' conclusion: the animal appeared to be playing. Play. Behavior performed voluntarily, repeated with no survival benefit, typically observed only in well-fed, unstressed mammals and a handful of birds. The octopus has no social hierarchy to practice through play, no group dynamics to navigate. Something in its distributed copper-blooded nervous system compels it to explore beyond what survival demands. But it is the coconut octopus that may offer the clearest evidence of planning. This species collects discarded coconut shell halves and carries them, using a slow, laborious, stilt-walking gait on 2 arms, across stretches of open seafloor with no shelter. When it needs to hide, it pulls the shells together into an armored dome. Present cost for a future benefit. The octopus must imagine a scenario that has not yet occurred and act on that prediction. Some scientists classify this as composite tool use, previously documented only in humans, certain primates, and a few birds. The giant Pacific octopus, the largest species with an arm span of up to 16 feet, goes further. It drags rocks between tidal pools to construct ambush shelters, hunting blinds, not reactive behavior, planning, construction, strategic execution. In the warm, silty waters of the Lembeh Strait in Indonesia, the mimic octopus develops a different kind of defense. It does not just change color or texture, it changes shape. It flattens its body and undulates its arms to replicate the swimming pattern of a flat fish. It buries 6 arms and extends 2 in opposite directions, mimicking a venomous banded sea snake. It fans its arms outward and darkens to impersonate a lionfish, complete with the visual suggestion of venomous spines. The octopus assesses which predator is approaching and selects the impersonation most likely to deter that specific threat. predator-specific behavior mimicry. It understands, at some functional level, how its predators think. At the opposite end of the strategy sits the blue-ringed octopus of southern Australia, small enough to rest in a human palm, one of the most lethal animals on Earth. Its bite delivers tetrodotoxin, a neurotoxin that paralyzes voluntary muscles, including those controlling breathing. There is no antivenom. The only treatment is mechanical ventilation until the toxin clears the body. In a world of creatures trying to disappear, this octopus chose the opposite strategy. When threatened, it activates light-reflecting cells that intensify its iridescent blue rings while darkening the surrounding skin. Maximum contrast, maximum visibility. The signal is readable across a murky reef. Come closer, and you stop breathing. The octopus sleeps, and when it does, its skin erupts. During a phase called active sleep, analogous to REM sleep in mammals, colors cascade across its body, textures shift, patterns form and dissolve. The octopus appears to cycle through its camouflage repertoire while unconscious. Researchers believe this is memory consolidation. The animal is replaying the day's experiences, processing them into long-term storage. Most species live between 1 and 3 years. In that window, the octopus must learn everything it needs to survive, entirely on its own. No parental teaching, no social learning, no inherited behavioral tradition. Every octopus builds its understanding of the world from scratch. Then, its own biology shuts it down. That shutdown is hardwired. In females, reproduction triggers a cascade governed by the optic gland. After laying eggs, the gland floods the body with hormones that suppress feeding. The mother stops eating. She oxygenates and defends her eggs for months while her body consumes itself. In the giant Pacific octopus, that vigil lasts up to 6 months. By the time the larvae release into the current, she's already dying, tissues deteriorating, immune system collapsed. In 2023, researchers confirmed that the Dorado outcrop, first discovered a decade earlier, is an active nursery. Over 100 moose octopus mothers gathered at hydrothermal vents. Not to hunt, to brood. Each had staked out a position near the warm water to accelerate egg development. Every single one had stopped eating. But perhaps the most disorienting discovery in recent octopus biology is RNA editing. What if evolution didn't have to wait for the next generation? Most animals, including humans, rely on DNA mutations across generations to adapt. The process takes thousands of years. Cephalopods found a shortcut. They edit their RNA, the messenger molecules that translate genetic instructions into proteins, in real time. They alter the proteins their cells produce without changing the underlying DNA. An octopus can modify the proteins its cells produce within its own lifetime. Much of this editing targets nervous system proteins, tuning its neural machinery to the specific conditions it encounters. The trade-off is significant. Although octopuses have evolved into some of the most biologically unique creatures on the planet, high rates of RNA editing require conserved DNA sequences around editing sites, slowing evolution in those regions of the genome. They traded some long-term genetic flexibility for something closer to real-time biological adaptation within a single life. 600 million years ago, a flatworm with no brain, no eyes, and no concept of the world beyond the sediment it crawled through diverged along 2 evolutionary paths. One path led to us, centralized brains, spines, social intelligence. The other path led here, distributed minds, copper blood, bodies that edit their own molecular instructions in real time. 2 separate experiments, same planet, convergent results through entirely different mechanisms. Where we once assumed there was only one model for intelligence, we assumed wrong. The octopus proves otherwise. We've spent this video inside one of the strangest nervous systems on Earth, but the octopus isn't the only deep-sea organism that defines what biology says should be possible. There are creatures living in conditions so extreme, so far beyond any normal survival threshold, that their existence rewrites what we thought we knew about the limits of life. 10 of them should not exist at all. That video is on screen now. If you want to see what else is hiding in the dark, like this video and hit subscribe. See you in the deep.